What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of A Reseller's Life. My name is Chris. I go by Daily Refinement Online. In this episode, I'm going to give you guys the 6 ways that I narrowed down the 8 different types of sourcing for eBay, Amazon, Poshmark, Mercari, whatever platform you sell online. There's really only 8 ways to find inventory: garage sales, whatever is around your house, outlets, thrift stores, online arbitrage, which in my opinion is the largest opportunity, wholesale, liquidation, salvage, and auctions. Now, when you hear that, usually your brain explodes because how do you even process that many ways of looking for something? And I'm going to give you guys the 6 ways that I look at it, and hopefully that helps you narrow it down. Now, the first thing is, how much capital do you have? That's the first criteria in determining what to do. When you're first getting started, like myself, I didn't want to put too much money into it. I wanted to learn what sells. So I spent my time in the thrift stores and garage sales looking for specific items. Twice, I have sold something for over $2,000 profit that I paid less than $10 for. This is the treasure hunting explosion that everyone is looking for right now on Saturday and Sunday. People are now choosing to go to garage sales instead of going for a hike just because of the opportunity to come up, right? It's awesome. That being said, once you start striking out, you can kind of get frustrated. So people will say, hey, Chris, I went to 9 different stores, didn't find anything. I've had seasoned resellers come stay with me. I'll give you an example. I went out with the Hustle Bee and Hustler Hacks Glenn. We went to 9 stores in the morning, didn't find one item. Imagine how big of a waste of time it is for 3 people to go do that and find nothing, right? But those guys persevered, did it the rest of the day, ended up coming back with a few $100 profit each. And considering we did a meetup and lunch, that's still pretty great. But again, that's very difficult to scale if you don't have number 2, which is time. Okay, so first is how much money do you have? Second is how much time do you have? Do you have time to drive around for 14 hours looking for inventory? Maybe not. So if you don't have more time, you're going to have to start leveraging other things like wholesale, liquidation, ordering stuff online that comes to you. That's going to create a new problem, which is now you have stuff. How do you process it and get it ready for sale online? How do you list it? What platform is best for you? But that starts to happen once you start leveraging your time and putting it all into the focus of buying stuff online. There are millions and millions of items for sale online. You can't sort through that many things in person. It's impossible. This is a sorting problem. If we're looking at it like an engineer, there's all these goods. How are we supposed to filter down to just the ones that are super profitable? Time is really paramount. If you have less time, usually it's going to require more money and more labor, maybe not your own, maybe a VA or a person that's helping you to sort through that stuff. Those are the 2 most difficult things: capital and then time. Next is going to be determining if the source has a long potential profit. This is why I like people who go on the same thrift store route, because you're going to keep running into the same people. It's impossible not to develop some type of relationship with the people there. Goodwill is going to be around for a long time. So is Salvation Army. So is Burlington, Ross, Marshalls, all these liquidation centers and the clearance sections of Home Depot, Target, Walmart. These aren't going anywhere. These are huge Fortune 100 companies. Actually, I don't know if Ross and Marshalls are Fortune 100, but Nike certainly is with the Nike outlet. So you're looking at the top brands. You're selling the stuff that they essentially throw away or liquidate. This is the potential payoff is, where do you want to put your time in? Because you don't want to put your time into something that's not going to be around for a while. That's why I recommend you put most of your time into developing relationships. Everyone that's listening right now is just 1 or 2 relationships away from consistent supply. So what you need to do is get yourself a notebook, get yourself an Excel spreadsheet, and start contacting people, writing it down. I heard a really good saying, I think it's from Dave Chappelle. He was saying how the idea is your driver, right? You aren't the driver. You put the idea in, like, I want to sell camera equipment, right? You put that in and then you just start doing it. You just let that drive you to wherever it takes you. Write down all the different people that supply it, all the different products, what the market is saying. Spend your time in the sold. Start figuring out, where does this stuff come from? Reverse engineer who the suppliers are, who the distributors are. Look for the highest potential profit items. Stay in that market as long as you can till you reach it. I will tell you the number 1 most common thing amongst people who are really successful in reselling is when you ask them what they sell, they tell you what they sell. They don't say, I have an online store. They say, I sell batteries. And you're like, oh, really? And they're like, yeah, I put 70 hours of work into one category. So there's no possible way you can compete against somebody who spends all their time in one category. That's a guaranteed unfair advantage. You can just stop the video right now and write that down. If you spend more time in one category than everybody else, you will win. You're going to figure out where those products come from. You are going to be the person with the relationship if you spend all your time on just that one category. Okay, next is enjoyment. This is kind of important, and I don't like talking about follow your passion because I think you can be passionate about anything if you can learn how to make it profitable for the market. So as an example, my friend and I were looking into breast pumps because they sell like crazy, but you can't resell the attachments, obviously, because of hygiene purposes, but we were thinking maybe you can resell the motors. Now we know that you can't resell the motors because the motors have certain warranties from the manufacturer. And obviously this is a sensitive piece of equipment. You don't want to reuse something that may not have the right performance. So we abandoned the idea. But my point is, we were passionate about figuring out whether or not there's a market for this. Not necessarily can we make money from it. That's going to happen. If you're really good at selling breast pumps, and you look at how many sell every day, thousands of these sell, then you'll be like, okay, all I have to do is be good at selling brand new ones, figure out where they come from. The used market may not be good in this category because one, it might be illegal. Two, it may not perform like it does when it's brand new. So maybe not even mess with it. But the point is, I feel like you can become passionate about almost any category if you're just interested in helping somebody who might actually use that product instead of just thinking about trying to earn money from it, because that usually doesn't work. It's the person that's best at serving the customer that buys it that earns the most money, not the person that wants the money the most. That's really should be obvious, but I'm getting most of the emails coming in have this long story about the person that doesn't matter. Like your history doesn't matter, your family situation doesn't matter, how much money you have doesn't matter. Just who is buying your stuff? Do they want your stuff? That's the only thing that matters. Okay. The last one is, how good are you at building relationships? This is going to determine which category you pick. If you are not very good at building relationships, I suggest you just do online arbitrage in a sense of not trying to do wholesale or liquidation, because this in salvage or auctions, because that requires actually dealing with people. If you don't want to deal with people, then learn drop shipping or learn online arbitrage where you're looking for a specific category like hard drives, right? And in order to figure out categories, you need to start paying attention to what top sellers are. Go to the mall and ask people in the store, what's your most popular product? Write it down and go home and look for it online. If you're not if you're not good at dealing with people one-on-one, move towards the digital version. If you don't like the digital version, then move towards meeting people in person. There are tons and tons of brick and mortar places that have zero interest in selling online, and you need to be the arbitrator for them. You need to represent them and get their amazing hard work onto the internet. So hopefully that's useful, guys. I want to be motivational and inspirational, but I also want to be real with you guys. So there's a lot of work involved in this. And the main thing is just, if you guys get really good at one specific category, there's going to be people who can't catch you. So for me personally, today I was at a store and this lady asked me, how do you do that? Okay, because I went through the racks really quickly. I picked up one pair of shoes. I went straight to the register and she said, obviously you are a reseller. This is not your size. How can you scan the racks like that? And I'm like, well, one, I really like shoes. And two, I've sold probably 7,000 pairs at this point in my career. I can tell from looking at the shoe so many different things about it. I can tell you if it's on trend. I can tell you the condition of it roughly. If one pair is, if I look at the bottom of a shoe, I can sort of tell you what that person looks like. That's how much experience I have in selling one category. Also, I know which brands do well. It's like that's all learned from spending a ton of time in this category. Plus, I love shoes, right? I put shoes above most people that I know. I really, really like shoes. So me putting a tremendous amount of effort into one narrow choice of where I want to source has given me a huge advantage. Also, I have been spending a lot of time developing relationships with specific people, and now I have some products that I'm the only person allowed to sell it. That's like a monopoly. That's like the best thing ever. So as I mature in my reselling career, I want to focus more on in-depth, long-term relationships. And I just want to do one more nugget at the end here, which is, and most of these people are not listening to this channel, but I get some heat on this YouTube channel from people who've been reselling for a long time. And the main issue of this heat is that they've been reselling for a long time and their results have been dwindling. And they're saying it's because of people like me who are giving out information on the topic, where that's not really true. If you pick a niche, it is going to slowly diminish. If you've resold for any amount of time, you'll realize that there's no such thing as a golden goose product that just lays an egg at the same sales velocity forever. There's no product that does that. Every product devalues over time. So if you keep selling the exact same thing in the exact same way, in the exact same quantity, of course your sales are going to slowly dwindle. So for those people who think that this is some kind of passive income thing, it's just not true. So when I'm looking at these complaints that come in, most of these people don't really get to me, but recently it's been too much, especially since my videos have been a little bit more real lately. And every time I try to talk about it that way, people just have an issue with it. So look, this is not guaranteed. You're going to find a product that sells well, and eventually it's not going to sell well. Okay, the 10 by 10 by 10 model of 10 items that sell 10 times a day for $10 profit, your $1,000 goal for your career. I only know one person that's done that, and he has 97 freaking products to get 10 that do that. Okay, and he literally spends 70 hours a week in one category, has no kids, has more energy than anyone I've ever met, is in great shape, has no money problems. How can you compete against someone that's doing that? Okay, and that's just the reality of it. This person is that motivated, and they still took them 97 products to find 10 that sell consistently. Okay, so I kind of don't want to hear it from people who've been doing it for a long time and never improve. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox now, and appreciate you guys. If you're still listening, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time.